Okay, fine. So today we will start talking about managing users. All right, managing users as in how do we manage users right from creating the users, deleting them, and controlling their access and permissions. All right, so that is what we're gonna talk here. Controlling access and permission means every user in the company cannot have same level of permission, right? If I have 100 users, some of them will be managers, some of them will be just sales reps, some of them are supervisors, some of them are working in the marketing team, someone is working in the sales team, someone is a customer support executive. So I cannot give same level of permission to everyone, right? So that is what we will understand here, that okay fine, how do we control all these permissions and stuff. Okay, so that comes under managing users. So first thing, what is a user? Every user is identified by a username and a password and a single profile. Okay, so every user in Salesforce will have a username and password. Okay, and if you remember the pricing that Salesforce, the money that Salesforce is going to charge you is based on how many users you want. So if you just want 5 users or 10 users, or you want 1 user, per user they are going to charge you the license fee, right? And for every individual user they will give you a username and a password. Okay, and every user has a profile as well. What is this profile? Now this profile determines what tasks user can perform, what data they see. Okay, so the username and password they will have, and they will have a profile, and this profile is actually going to control all the permissions that they have. So this will determine what task they can perform, what data they can see, and what they can do with the data. Whether they can edit the data or delete the data or not, that all depends on the profile. So this profile is basically what controls all the permissions of the users. Okay. Now,
Jeet, are you sharing this PPT with us?
sharing as in, can you see the screen?
This, yeah, I can. I mean, I
No,
mean to
I'm
say,
not
are
sharing
you
the
sharing
PPT.
it through the drive?
No,
Oh, okay. So
I'm just
because
sharing the recording.
you're going a little fast, so I'm just making a note. So
No,
that's why.
you don't have to make a note of it at all. Just
Okay.
refer to it at the time of listening to the recording. And I am gonna
Oh,
share, see, this PPT is just what do you say, a few lines. I'm gonna share a study
okay.
material with you which has a complete detail of users, so don't worry about that. So you'll
Okay.
have all
All
the
right.
reference material. Don't make a note of
Okay.
anything,
Right. Sure.
like, okay. So viewing and managing users. How do you view and manage users? It's pretty simple, very, very simple. You just have to go to setup, manage users, and then under that you have an option of users. So whatever you want to do with the users, view or manage users, you have to go to setup users. Okay, so let's log in into this Salesforce. Okay, so here it is, setup. Under manage users, users. So whatever manage user of activity you have to do has to be here. Okay, if you want to check how many users are there, click on this. If you want to add a new user, click on this new user button and create a new user. If you want to edit some user, you can just click on edit here and edit the user. Okay, if you want to add multiple users at one go, you have the option here. You can click on add multiple users and then you just keep on adding the users one by one. Pick a user license, let's say a Salesforce platform license user, then enter the information about the user. Okay, first user, second user, keep on adding those information, third user. If you want to add more, you can add more users, right? So if you want to add multiple users, this is the option. If you want to add a single user, then you had that option of creating a new user. If you want to reset the password for a user, you can do it. And all this is considering that you have the admin rights. Currently, the user which I'm logged in with, this has system admin permissions. So my profile is of an administrator. That is the reason why I have the option of resetting password, creating users, adding multiple users. A normal user does not have that option of creating users and all that, because again, as we discussed earlier, that everyone cannot do everything. So only system administrators have this permission of managing users, right? And you also have that option of resetting password for any of your users. So I can just pick a user and I can reset his password. In case I doubt that, okay, fine, they might be password theft or something like that, or in case the end user has forgotten his password and he comes to you and says that, okay, hey, no, you know what, I don't remember my password, can you reset it for me? So you can reset the password for the end user. Correct? Okay, so that's all about creating the user and adding multiple users and resetting their password. There's one more concept here. The other concept is, how do I delete user? Let's say I've created a user. Let me just go ahead and create one more user. Let's say I've created a user. Okay, let's say this is my new user. Role I want to define as. Okay, I've created the user, right? All right. Now, how do you delete the user? So what's the option of deleting a user? User has been created. How will you delete it? The only thing that we can do for deleting a user is, not this one, this one. What we can do about deleting the user is deactivate it. Okay, so currently this is an active user, make it inactive. That's it. Now this is not an active user. Okay, that's the only thing that you can do in terms of deleting a user. You cannot go ahead and completely remove the record. All right, only thing that you can do is make it inactive. So Salesforce does not allow you to delete a user record. Once a user is created, you cannot delete it. Yes, you can definitely deactivate the user. So deactivating the user means it will not consume the license. All right. So if you have 5 licenses and you have 5 people working in the company, and 2 of them are leaving, and there are 2 more people joining in, then what you can do is you can just deactivate the ones who are leaving, and you can give those licenses, assign those licenses to the other ones. Got it? So, can any one of you tell me what can be the logic behind it? Why doesn't Salesforce allow us to delete the users? From the concept perspective, what might be the logic behind it? Just think about it. Why am I not supposed to delete a user? What may be the reason?
Maybe they would come back. They would giving an option for them to come back and take the license again.
No. That can be one reason, but very rare. But there is another logic to it. If you guys remember, there is a field called owner, standard field called owner. Remember that? Every record
Owner.
has an owner field, owner, record owner, contact owner,
Okay.
account owner. There, no?
Okay.
The
Yeah.
person who creates
Now,
original owner who creates it,
hmm.
first owner.
Or the created by also is there, right?
Create file, yeah.
Yeah.
Initially, when we do a particular app, opening or creating a new app, it automatically the owner name will be like Pearl and Daniel, something like that. It comes.
The person who created the record, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you got some hint why users are not allowed to be deleted.
Because the original owner only can do they have the authority other than the
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, go ahead.
Probably to maintain the record, as in
Right,
what the user has done so far and what they've done
right.
so far, to maintain a record.
To maintain the records. That's correct. So whatever
To
a
main-
particular user has done, I cannot transfer it. Let's say Pearl is working with us. Now Pearl decides that, and in last 6 months she has got a few cases, and she has resolved a few of them, and few of them she did not resolve, and because of that there were escalations and all that stuff. Okay, and we lost a client, and we got a few opportunities also through her. Okay. Now if I have to delete the user, either I have to delete all this data, all the cases, all the opportunities, or I'll have to make someone else as the owner of all that data, which is not correct, right? Why should I put all those things on the name? Let's say there were certain good things, some opportunities that she has won, and because of that, uh, she needs to get some incentive in coming 5 years. But if I make someone else the owner of those records, it will be difficult for us to
Exactly.
track. Maybe there were some cases which she could not handle, and because of that we lost client. We cannot transfer this kind of data also to some other person. So it's kind of deleting your history, so which you do not want, right? So to maintain that data and record, to keep a track of that, we never delete a user. Make sense? A very simple concept, no? Yeah, someone was asking something. No? Okay, that's fine. So that's about basically managing the users in terms of creating, deleting. Deleting means deactivating, and resetting their passwords and stuff like that. Okay, so that's one part. Now the other stuff is their permissions. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to talk about is the profile that the user has. Okay. Before we start talking specifically about profile, let's understand about the securing data access. Securing data access, okay? So securing data access, we've got a few levels of security, okay? First is object level security. So when I start talking about controlling the access of the users, we'll have to understand that this security needs to be imposed at different levels. All right. So first level is object level security. Object level security means the security at the level of objects, where you define whether a user can access an object or not. So in the database, we have so many tables, right? Each table is called an object. Object level security talks about whether the user is allowed to view data in a certain object or not, whether he's allowed to create data in that object or not. For example, we have seen account table, contact table, and opportunity table and stuff like that. Okay, so let's say a user is allowed to create opportunities or not, or a user is allowed to view opportunities or not. So that's the object level permission. Okay, but you can prevent a user from seeing, creating, editing, or deleting any instance of a particular type of object, such as lead or opportunity, right? So if you want, you can control a user's permission to view, edit, delete, or create the records in any object. So that's called object level security. Okay. Second security is field level security. So now basically we will have to take care of the security, access, and permissions at every level. Like for example, if I have to give you a simple example, think of it. When you go to office, you would notice that there is a security at every level. Okay, there might be complex, and your office buildings are there within that complex, so there might be a security arrangement right outside that complex, right? So only people with the ID cards are allowed there. Then you come to your office building, and then you will find that there is a security arrangement there. You are allowed inside that only if you work in that particular building. Now you get inside that, then there is a particular floor for your office. Now you come to your office and then you try to enter your office. You will see there is a security arrangement there again. Make sure that you work in that office only. They will check, or whatever. Either somebody sitting there will check, or maybe you swipe your card and automatic security thing works there. But again, there is a security arrangement there, right? And then there's another security arrangement, let's say inside the office also. Some areas are where you are not allowed to go, like server room is there, or maybe there is a finance office, you are not allowed to go in there. So some areas are restricted, or if you are from a particular department, you might not be allowed to get into some other department, right? So what is happening there is that security needs to be imposed at every level. It's not just that, okay, fine, one security rule will work for everyone, everything. No. So same way, if I consider this application that we are dealing with, security needs to be controlled at every level. Who has permission to get into the object? Who has the permission to get into the database? Who has the permission to get into editing the objects? Okay, who can go and see the fields in the object? That is what. Okay, so object level permission is one thing, object level security. Second is field level security. Field level security is, you may want users to have access to an object but limit their access to individual fields in that object. Okay, sometimes it may happen that you want your user to see the object, but one or two fields in the object you just want to restrict. Let's say users can see the lead object, but I don't want to see them, I don't want them to see the email field in the lead. I don't want to see them the email. So that's field level security. Okay, field level security control whether a user can see, edit, and delete the value for a particular field or on an object. Okay, then comes the record level security. Record level security is, you may want to configure access setting for the actual record themselves. Record level security lets you give users access to some object records but not others. Okay, which means if there are, let's say, you both work in the company. Okay, let's understand about this. Let's say you both are there, and I am the administrator. I have to control the permission. Now, Archana works in marketing team, and Pearl works in sales team. So first security that I'll have to consider is, what all objects Archana needs permission to and what all objects Pearl needs permission to, right? So let's say Archana is in marketing team, she needs access to campaigns. Pearl is in sales team, she does not need access to campaigns. So I need to make sure that, okay, fine, what she does not require, she is not accessing that. Okay. So that's object level permission, object level security. So when I say that Pearl will not be able to see campaigns, that's object level security. Okay. Then there will be certain common objects or otherwise also. Let's say I talk about lead object. Lead object is something where you both have permissions. All right. But I don't want you to see the email IDs. That's field level security. Okay. Or um, talking about Archana, she has access to the campaign object, but I don't want her to see, though she has access to campaign object, but I don't want her to see the budget field. So there's a field called budget or actual budget of the campaign. I don't want her to see the budget of the campaign. That is field level security, where I am trying to restrict the permission at a field level. Okay. Third is record level security. What is record level security? Record level security is if there is an object where both of you have access. Okay. Let's say again talking about leads, and there are, let's say, 100 leads that Archana is working on, and there are 100 leads that Pearl is working on. Then record level security allows me to put a setting in place where Archana does not get to see Pearl's leads and vice versa. Correct? Which means
Is it something like I cannot view few of the records
you cannot view few of the records which
which
are
are more
owned by
secure,
someone
something like
else.
that?
Right.
Someone else, yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
if you are owner, you view it. If someone else is the owner, you cannot view it. So that sort of setting can also be done. I mean, depending on business requirement, we can do this. Okay. So that's record level security. Okay. Okay. Now understanding the user permission and access. User permission and access settings specify what users can do within an organization, specify in user profile and permission sets. So these permission and access are given using profiles and permission sets. So there are two ways of doing it. One is through the profile of a user and second is through a permission set. So I'll talk about both of them. So first of all, let's talk about user profile. Okay. What's a user profile? A profile contains user permissions and access settings that control what users can do within the organization. Okay, so it's a profile. A profile contains user permissions and access settings that control what users can do within the organization. Okay, so a profile contains what a user will be able to do within the organization. So in contact manager, group and professional edition organization, you can assign standard profiles to your users. So we have seen different editions. In these three editions, contact manager, group and professional edition, you can assign standard profiles to your users. Okay. Before we get into this, come here and have a look. Under setup manage users, you have this thing called profiles. Okay, if you click on this, you'll see there are a lot of profiles. Okay, in a way this profile is collection of permissions. So what's a profile? It's simply collection of permissions that a user will have. So there are so many profiles already here. These are all standard profiles which have been created by salesforce.com. Okay, like standard object, custom object, same way, standard profile, custom profile. So either you pick any of the standard profiles for your user or you go ahead and create your own profile. So that will be a custom profile. Correct? So see, if you look into this, there are so many profiles already here. marketing user, solution manager, standard sales user, partner community user. There are so many of them, right? So either we can use any one of them. These are all standard profiles, or we can create our own profile. So you have an option of creating a new profile. Based on your requirement, you will control what all permissions will be there and not. Okay. But for these three editions, contact manager, group, and professional edition, you can assign standard profile to your users, but you can't edit the standard profiles or create custom profiles. So for these editions, you are not allowed to create custom profiles or edit an existing profile. All right. In Enterprise Unlimited Performance and Developer Edition orgs, you can use standard profiles or create, edit, and delete custom profiles. Okay, so the custom profile option is available only starting from an Enterprise Edition. Got it? So why this piece of information is important? Again, you need to understand which all editions allow you to create custom profiles, so that while you're working on a certain edition for a client, you know, okay, where you have the liberty of creating the profiles and where you don't have that liberty. So till professional edition, you do not have any option of creating your own profile. And Enterprise Unlimited Performance and Developer Editions allow you to create your own profile as well. So you can use the standard profile, you can edit the standard profile, and you can also go ahead and create your own profile if required. Okay, now let's go and look into the profiles. Let me just open any one of the profiles. Let's say marketing user. So if you open this profile, you will see what all permissions are controlled in that profile. Click on edit. Okay. See what all apps are visible under this profile. All the apps are listed here. Which all apps are visible? You can make some apps not visible under this profile. What all tabs are visible? That is controlled under the profile. Okay. Default on, default off, tab is hidden. Admin permissions. So these are basic admin permissions. Whether you want to give a profile some admin permissions or not. General user permission, whether you want to allow some general user permission to the profile or not. Object permissions. So we were talking about object permissions. So all the objects are listed, and whether you want to give a read, create, edit, delete permission on object. Okay. So if you want the users of this profile only to read accounts but not create accounts, then you should remove the create permission from here for this profile. All right. So that is what it is. So profile in a way is controlling all the permissions. What a user can do, what he can view in terms of what all apps he views. Okay. So if I have to put it in simple words, profile controls apps visible, which all apps are visible to a user. Tabs visible, which all tabs are visible to the user. Admin permissions. So some permissions are admin level permissions where you are allowed to control other things also, other people's login and passwords and stuff like that. So whether a user has admin permissions or not. General user permissions. What general user permissions that user will have, that depends on the profile. Object permissions. All right. So these are all things which are controlled through a profile. Got it? App permission is editable on standard profile, which means if you have a standard profile, you can edit this settings on standard profile. This you can edit. These three things are not editable on the standard profile. So if you come here to a profile, you will see it here itself. See, this is editable. I'm using a standard profile. Marketing user is a standard profile provided by Salesforce. This is not what I have created. If you click on edit, what do you see? I can edit the app permission. I'm allowed to do that. Tab settings, okay, you can do that as well. So you want to make some tab not visible to the user, you can just turn it off, make it tab hidden. Let's say I don't want the users of this profile to see campaigns tab. I should go ahead and make the tab as tab hidden. Okay, I don't the users of this profile to see leads tab. Then just go to leads and make it tab hidden. All right. But after that, if you just scroll down a little further, you will see admin permissions. We do not have any control. I cannot edit. Okay. So for standard profiles, because it's a standard profile, we have limited permission to edit the profile. Okay. We can edit the profile, but just the apps and the tab settings. We are not allowed to edit the admin permissions, general user permissions, and the object permissions. Okay. If you actually want to customize these things as well, then you have to go ahead and create your own profile. Alright, so you can always go ahead and create a new profile. And in that new profile, which will in fact be a custom profile, you will have the option of editing everything. So let's say I'm creating a new profile. While creating a new profile, you will have to clone it from an existing one. You can make it my profile, click on save. Now this is a custom profile, right? My profile, this is what I have created. Here if you see, if you click on edit, you have the option of editing everything. App settings, tab settings, admin permissions, I can control the way I want. General user permission, I can control the way I want. I have the option of clicking, not clicking. Object permissions also I can control the way I want. Okay. So for standard profiles, you can control app and tab settings, and for your custom profile, you can edit all settings. No problem at all. Got it? Please let me know if there is a question or doubt here. Clear with the concept of profile?
Yes.
Okay. So there's another thing which we use for controlling the permission, which is called a permission set. So we will start talking about permission set tomorrow.